Hi, this is Jamie Payton. Welcome to this card process video. In today's video, I am taking a cut file from Paige Evans Silhouette Store and going to be playing this out 3 different ways on 3 different cards. So I've gathered supplies here, including her Truly Grateful epoxy word phrases, and I've made a tag there on vellum already with one of the words. And Basil white cardstock, my favorite current cardstock. That beautiful leaf swirl die cut. You might want to pick that up. It is so beautiful. And so all these cards are a variation on a theme in that, of course, I'm using the same die cut for each one. But then watercolors and metallic paint are going to find a home here on each of these cards. And so I hope you'll get some inspiration here as I start to make a watercolor wash on the top of this card background. But one of my go-to ways, and I do this quite a bit in my art journals, is I'll add washi tape or painter's tape to the edge because I don't want my paint to go over the edge. I like to keep a frame, and for the most part I really actually didn't need this, but it's just one of my go-tos. And as I got finished with the card, I realized that I did need to have that border there at the bottom, and so I was kind of glad that I went ahead and had it in place. So to kind of speed up the process, of course, I'm using my heat gun to dry the background, and then this is where the metallic gold paint comes in. I'm going to be adding just some paint splotches. This is just going to give it this whole painterly, artsy kind of feel. Super easy way to add color to a background. And it's just one of those techniques you just have to keep playing with until you start to get comfortable with your paint splotches. So now that my background is drying, I'm just taking some baker's twine and I'm going to hot glue it to the top of the cut file. And so that's all that I'm creating right here. I'm probably going to double bow that actually. I think you're going to see you might see another bow come in here. Maybe not. Can't remember now. So as I place this on here, I'm going to be removing the painter's tape. And again, washi tape works just as well with this. So if you don't have painter's tape in your stash, and you too want to make sure that you have a border left around your background, then just use washi tape to give yourself that margin, if you will. Okay, so that's all dry. We are going to attach the die cut to the card. And then lastly, to finish this card, is that adore on a vellum tag, and it's tied on with gold thread. And I think this is a beautiful card. I was pretty happy how it turned out. The next card uses pretty much all the same supplies, but also the Truly Grateful puffy stickers. And so to start this one out, you can see I'm using the negative to the leaf cutout. And I wasn't really quite sure where this was going to go yet, but I did know I was going to add in some of the gold metallic paint and giving that painterly look that is going to kind of tie all these cards together. And of course, all these cards don't have to look like they go together. It's just one way I go about getting several cards made at once when I just stick with the same supplies and kind of the same ideas. So I'm adding the double sticky tape to the back, but you're going to see here in a moment, I ended up going back and trimming the edges. And what's going to happen is it's going to leave me with actually 2 pieces of that negative cut. So it ended up sort of working out kind of like a puzzle piece that I put back on my card background. And I actually really liked the way it turned out. I had 3 pieces, and as you're going to see as we process through this, that it's actually going to just utilize the 2 pieces, and it works out pretty great. And what's funny as I go back and look at this video is I realize I didn't even measure to make sure my leaf was going to fit back inside that frame. So if you're going to attempt this at home, just make sure you have good spacing there on that frame so that your leaf fits back on it nicely. And mine does, but I realized I didn't quite plan that out completely, and sometimes that happens. So it fits in there nicely, as you can see there. I'm pretty happy. It's open there on the left side, and that's okay. I liked how it all just came together. This time I'm wrapping a piece of the gold thread around the leaf itself, just a dot of hot glue, and that leaves the rest of the leaf pretty loose and floating, and that whole ethereal feel that I really like to add to my projects. That is one way to make that happen. And so I could have added the Grateful to another vellum tag, but I decided to make it centered there at the bottom of the card. And so I'm just going to go through, and I use my silhouette spatula to pull those off of their backer sheet and place them, and kind of use the tool to move the letters around until I'm happy with their placement. And I think even when I got finished, they were still a little slightly off, but you can just move them around and make sure they're as straight as they can be before you give your card to someone else. And that's what I'm still kind of fiddling with right here. So those are in place, and then I just grab that gold leaf from the puffy stickers and just simply laid it on top of the cut file. And I think it's super pretty, and it adds to the whole feel going on there. And so that's another pretty card done in just a few moments time, and a couple more puffy dots were added to the top right of that card. All right, our last card, and I'm just showing you the supplies that I'm using with this one. I also grabbed that banner from the Truly Grateful ephemera. And so I'm just getting some more of the gold metallic paint ready, and I'm watering it down pretty good because I do want it to be pretty splotchy. I'm not covering anything and giving my paper by any means an opaque look. I just want the splotchies, and for this card I just use that all over. And then I grabbed some of the watercolor paint, very similar to the gold metallic paint, and it is now going to be painted over the leaf swirls die cut. The attempt and the idea here was to sort of layer in a bit of an ombre look. And what's so great about watercolors is, especially when you're just adding color in like this, they are really very forgiving. And when you first apply the color, the hue is a bit darker than the finished look. So if you ever need to add more color, you obviously have that option. I was pretty happy with the ombre look that I did achieve, and so I didn't end up going back and adding any more color. The next thing I'm going to do is wrap the bottom of my card background with the baker's twine. So you can see how the baker's twine also kind of comes back into play in another one of these cards, and just adds to the variation on the theme happening here. I'm just trying to tie a basic bow. I'm sorry I left so much of that footage on here, but all we're doing is just tying a bow around the bottom. And again, just a dot of the hot glue, and it's going to sit underneath the bow. So it looks like the leaf is tied to the card by adding that little feature there. And so I added pop dots to the banner, the Hello Sunshine banner, that's also similar coloring as my leaf swirl. And card number 3 is done and ready to go and be put on its card base. So there are 3 cards, all using basically all the same supplies, and one beautiful Paige Evans cut file. You can see all the links to the supplies and to the cut file down below. And I sure would appreciate it if you would click thumbs up if you like this video, and just be sure to watch out for more here.